Hi, in this video I'll give you advice about the Jehovah's Witnesses convention. It was held at the UCF Arena. It had another name, CFE Arena. There were several arenas there apparently. The best advice I can give you for women is to wear tennis shoes or low-heeled tennis shoes, because I saw coming back, I saw two women just standing around barefoot because obviously their shoes were causing them pain, because we walked from the parking lot all the way to the actual arena entrance and then upstairs and so on. In the morning, it was on a Friday morning today, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. In the morning, I also saw one young girl with high heels that the heels were cutting the back of her ankle, the back of her ankle, that area there. She needed socks or something to. But the point is, I saw another young lady also in high heels, but her high heels were, she had like a belt, a tiny belt that goes around the ankle. That one didn't bite. She was smiling and so on. But the other one that I saw had shoes that were in high heel, and they were closed in the back, and they were just biting into her. And immediately I said, oh no, I didn't bring my band-aids. I left the bag that I have the band-aids in. But she would have needed something like socks. I think socks, if the shoes were big enough, socks would have prevented that a tiny bit. But it's the wrong kind of shoe. Just don't take heels, high heels. Alright, so I've been to one assembly this year, and that was with 1,000 people, and I loved it because the chairs were very nice. They were theater style. You could actually rock back a little tiny bit. They were comfortable. Another thing is that assemblies are better than conventions because people don't get lost. I heard that people were getting lost. Alright. So, ladies, please, no high heels. Okay, today I went to the Jehovah's Witnesses convention. It was from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. It was 8 hours, 6 hours of which was basically talking, giving you good talks. They had good information. The only problem was, it would have been better if it would have been a 9 to 12, time-wise, 9 to 12. Now, the assembly that I went to, I think in January, was 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. or something like that. But the reason the assembly was better is because the chairs were much better. Because in a stadium, the seats that we went to were hard, and they were painful. So much so that I wrote it down in my notes, and I don't remember where my notes are. They're in the living room right now, the notes. But I am making this video to please, even though I took a pillow and I sat on my pillow, it was just painful to sit in those hard chairs, to sit for 8 hours, 9 to 5. Another minus was the air conditioning. Because once we start climbing upstairs, most of us took off our jackets, our coats. The men that wear, I didn't take off my tie, but we took off our jackets because climbing up the stairs was, even I saw the younger men, they were climbing up the stairs with no problem. But okay, the one I was watching was this dad. He had no problem. But when he carried his son down the stairs and back up the stairs, because we had breaks, not enough breaks, by the way, but we did have a break, and eventually I saw him climbing up the stairs as a man, as an old man, or the way I do it. He was a young man, of course, maybe 30. But there's a big difference when you first get there and you climb the stairs than when you do it the second time or the third time. Another plus was the marriage brochure. I haven't read it yet. Every time I get a brochure, I cover the last word of every paragraph, just about. And this makes me pay attention, so I put my finger on it when I'm reading it, but I really don't do that. What I do is I grab a marker and I cover the word, at least half. And if it's a complicated word, then I cover the verb that's before it. Children need discipline. I would cover the word need. But then you have children blank need discipline. Children blank discipline. You know that children need discipline. You can read it. But that technique helps me focus on what I'm reading. Because otherwise your mind starts to travel. But I liked the brochure. It had pictures and it had one of the brochures was on parenting and the other one on marriage. One of them had 14 lessons. So one of them was about David and Goliath and so on. So I do like that we got the brochures. They're 32 pages long. And it's something that I can use because coming from now that I'm a parent, these are books that will help you. I know that reading the Bible has helped me with my family. And now I act like Gandhi. There's a big change in my personality. I stay serious all day. I don't laugh or joke around. Not because I don't want to. I force myself because joking around angers my wife. And then she starts yelling. So for 7 months she hasn't been yelling because I don't smile. Even when she's telling me something that is funny, like our cat was trying to climb something today and he had difficulty. Oh yes, it was the windshield on the minivan. He climbed up and he kept sliding back down. Then he tried it again until he gave up. So the wife picked him up and put him up on top. But I didn't smile because I have to keep my balance or poised. I have to keep poised. To be poised is to be like my grandpa, who was back then what I would call a grouch. Even though he wasn't barking or anything, he was just so serious. He wouldn't even speak. He could sit there for a whole hour. He wouldn't say anything. But now I know that he suffered somehow. He must have suffered. I know he was kidnapped as a kid, but it was his mother kidnapped him and then his dad kidnapped him from the mother. They were both like that, and he mentioned to my mother that he could only play at night. In the daytime he had to be indoors or something like that. So he would only come out at night. But I think it's in El Salvador or maybe it's in Honduras where the houses, they have a garden inside. So what happens is I could be under the roof, but if I take 5 steps forward, there's a tree or something in the middle of the house. It's a wraparound house. No, we're not talking about tiny houses here. Okay. So my grandpa was very serious, and I have to be serious in order to conquer myself and thereby persuade other people. Um, the book, The Power of Concentration, tells you that you should be serious so that people take you seriously. One, in my case, so that my wife, well, I've achieved that she's reading the Bible with me. And I couldn't tell her do this or do that, or the Bible says this or that, because until she reads it for herself, it won't make any change in her personality. Alright, so if you go to the convention, I won't go again to another convention except when I go get baptized. Uh, the chairs are too difficult, too hard, they hurt. I recommend you go to the assemblies, which have less people, and they're more fun, even though they're only one day. And the conventions are 3 days. Today is Friday, so it was day 1, and I'm not going back for day 2 and 3 because the chairs were just painful. Alright. Happy. Choose to be happy. If you need help, contact me. Memorizing Bible verses can help you fix your life. Daniel Carone, 1972, at facebook.com. God bless you and those that surround you.